What's up, everybody? Happy late Monday. I don't have any decks for you today. Not really. I do, but I don't. I have a lot of decks for you that we've seen in the past 3 or 4 weeks. We got a couple of new cards these past couple of days, and I was like, oh, wow. We're going to have some changes. We didn't really have too many changes, but I want to talk about those. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about the meta for a budget player specifically, go over some of the decks that are still useful, and just discuss stuff. So win rates are Mage, Shaman, Paladin, that's it. Everything else is 49% or lower. That's a little weird. It's weird, but it's not weird. So if you're looking at the popularity right now, it's Big Spell Mage, which is almost all of the decks are above 6,000 dust, so we can't really use those right now. There's also new 40 card variation with Renathal coming back. Insanity Warlock, it's also the second highest played right now, and it's also above 6,000 dust. Highlander Warrior, you know what you're getting there. You're getting 12,000 dust or more. Let's go. Razzle Death Knight. So a lot of these are very expensive. Pirate Demon Hunter is a little bit on the cheap side, but it doesn't, it's not all over. It's number 5 or number 6. It's not one that I would be jumping into play. And then, yeah, when you're looking at each one of the classes, you've got Razzle Death Knight. It's too expensive. You got Pirate Demon Hunter. Yeah, it's a lot of games right now. And I think the cheapest one on Pirate Demon Hunter is, maybe it is above 6,000. No, there's a couple, 4,500. So 4,560 or 4,000, 4,680 or so, but it's just there's only 1,000 games countered. We're dealing with this because there's not a lot of people that are playing as a budget player. And then Druid really fell off the map across the board. Dragons lowest popularity. Dunguard, Druid, Highlander. It's just Druid's not doing too good right now. Hunter's doing great. It's got secret. It's got spell. You can do some cheating stuff to get those below 5,000 dust. And we have a couple of instances. I'm going to throw several of these deck codes in the description, of course. And like I said, we've got Mage. We've got Big Spell Mage, which is huge. Elemental Mage is also pretty, low cost. We've talked about it recently. Paladin, you have multiple to choose from. So Paladin, we should call it old reliable instead of Handbuff because it's been around for forever. It's below 1,000 dust. It's just not going to get you way high up without adding more cards to it. Tourist is expensive. Flood is a little bit more expensive. And then Priest, we're not even going to talk about Priest. Not only is there nothing on here, but it's all, it's below 50% win rate. It's all super, super expensive. Dagger Rogue, don't let this fool you because there is a couple of cheap Dagger Rogue decks, maybe 1, maybe 2 Mech Rogue decks. Let's check this because I could be wrong on that. Let's look at Mech Rogue and let's look at popular decks. No, it's all pretty expensive here. Yeah, below 5,000 dust. We're not going with Mech Rogue. But yeah, Dagger has some options there. Do I think it can still get you up all the way past gold? Possibly, but it's not as good as it was 2 weeks ago when we talked about it. Shaman has a lot of options. Shaman is a great deck or class for you to be playing, but the problem is it's all much higher than 5,000 dust. And then we have Insanity and Pain. Those are a little bit cheaper, but those are not my jam right now, and I'm a big fan of Warlock. And then, yeah, you've got Warrior, and Warrior's not doing immensely great right now. That's what it is on that. So let's look at some of the specific classes. That's what I want to deal with right now. I want to look at each one of the classes in a little bit more depth. This is the last 7 days. This is Bronze Suit Gold. Let's find decks below 5,000. There is a Death Knight deck here. There's only 200 games been tracked, but it's a 60% win rate. And it's essentially just all the Death Knight cards that you know and love. Blood Tap, Gold Panner, Mining Casualties. It's just super simple. It keeps things on the board, obviously. It facilitates the corpses with all the pieces that you're doing. So you got mining casualties there. Gigantify with Toy Statch and Geist is awesome. Dark Thorn Quilter, which, you know, goes ahead. There's not a lot of hand buff in here, I don't think. Yeah, there's just Amateur Puppeteer, which is amazing. Yelling Yodeler, which makes it strong. So it's kind of like a mini hand buff. I will absolutely make sure we share this with everybody here. And that's really it. There's a couple iterations of it. You know, there's a 1360. A lot of the same cards are in both of these decks. I don't see any Renathal decks below 5,000 dust for Death Knight, and I don't see it across the board. Demon Hunter, yeah, Pirates at 4560, 4680, but it's, you know, to me, I think this deck is being played out. It's just me personally. You know, the great thing about this, fun is subjective, so I don't think the Pirate Demon Hunter is a super fun deck, but it might work for you, and it's still, you know, getting some moves there with a 58.8% win rate. Last week there's been about 1,200 games recorded. These are fast games, at least 4.6 minutes to win. Druid, let's see what we got for Druid. How does Druid go? And I'm hitting the wrong button. Druid, yeah, taunt is low. Taunt. This is not good. There's a 51.6% Treant Druid, 4,600 dust. And yeah, that's not really that huge, but this will get you something, 100%. And look, Hearth is in it, and Hearth is an awesome card. Let's go with Hunter. Yeah, like I said, Secret Hunter, Spell Token Hunter, both of them are viable at around 3880 dust, and these are above 50% win rate. This one's at 60.2%. This one's 61.5%. Let's look at Mage. Elemental Mage, 1,120 dust with a 50.7% win rate. That's about it. I don't think this one will go anywhere past gold. Maybe past gold, and then the rest are just super expensive. Paladin, like I said, old reliable here. There's an Earthen Paladin at 6,000. You're just using hand buff. That's all you're doing. Priest, yeah, we're not even going to talk about Priest for more than a nanosecond. The higher win rate ones are ones that are way too expensive for this video. Rogue, Dagger Rogue at a 54%. It's 2,000 dust. This is the same one that we talked about the other day. 100% the same one. I will include this in the description. Absolutely, you should be, you know, if Rogue is your jam. Shaman is just 7,000, 8,000. It's just too expensive. There's nothing we can do with this one. Okay, what else? Let's go to Warlock. Warlock's at 4,800. 6,100 Insanity. That's about it. Insanity will win you games, absolutely. It's just, you know, right at the cusp of 5,000 dust. And then Warrior, there's really nothing besides Odin at 9,000, Odin at 10,000, Odin at almost 11,000. Yeah, it's not working for us. Let's talk about the new cards that were given to us last week. Avatar of Hearthstone came out, and the battle cry is open a standard pack. Play all cards from it. I would consider, if you are a budget player and you got this card, putting it in your hand, putting it in your deck. Just absolutely. Reason I'm saying that, yes, it's 9 mana. Yes, it might screw up the way your card, you know, your deck setup is, but the ability to get a standard pack, open up those and play those cards, you might get some busted random generated stuff. I would absolutely consider adding this to the mix. I don't think it has 100% utility. You can see this here. The recommended decks that would be playing is Taunt Druid, Ramp Druid, and look at the cost. 19,000, 15,000, 15,000. The idea is, if you're looking to add one more card to your deck, you know, this is like something that I would put, like, you know, the Hearth in there as well. I would just put that in there to see, and it's a fun card. Let's look at the Nexus Prince Shafar. This is a different one. So I looked at this. I don't see anything here. It just shows, and remember, this is just HS replay data. It's not huge. The popularity is not amazing. This is not a crazy minion that's being added that everybody's playing. It's got a very low play rate right now. The popularity is at around 1%. It's only been a couple of days. Calm down. The spell burst, give a minion in your hand +3/+3, and this spell burst. I was thinking this is possibly hand buff centric, but you know, the only reason I would say no to this is because you'd have to play the cards for the spell burst, and I don't see that being something that is being used all the time. If you're putting cards in to use the spell burst utility, wouldn't it be smarter for you to just have the cards that'll buff, you know, directly? That's my thought process. And then Prince Renathal. Prince Renathal is back. It's going to be back until the expansion launches, and there is a lot of decks that are playing around with it right now. If you have it for free, mess around with it. I looked around to see if there was any low-cost Renathal decks, and there's not. The lowest right now, and it just came out, like we said, is 5,920 dust with Rogue. There is some stuff out there expensive, but, you know, my suggestion is, if you're playing one of these archetype decks that are like, you know, specific to the class or specific to, you know, one piece, you could try to build a 40 card deck with it, but just make sure you're using the same as what you have now. So instead of having one of a specific card, try to put both in. Decks that are, you know, very aggressive. The only problem with that is if it has one specific thing that you're doing with that deck, adding 10 more cards to it or 9 more cards with Prince Renathal would probably screw up how your deck is being played. It absolutely is. You know, it'll be more difficult for you to find stuff. For example, I have the Highlander Warrior. So I made a 40 card Highlander Warrior, put a bunch of fun stuff in it, and I never found my Bran in like 5 games. It's just because there's just too many cards in there. So that's the only caveat that you have to deal with that. I will put some of these deck codes in the description. Absolutely. Some of the stuff that we talked about before, check out the previous like months videos of mine for specific, you know, how to play those decks or what have you. And then what I will do is the middle of the week, I'll check to see if anything changes. Maybe I'll just do an update to the budget scenario. I'll try to sit there and find some Renathal decks that are below 5,000. I don't think I'm going to find it. I don't think I'm going to find anything below 5,000 dust, but maybe something will work. And listen, if you have a Renathal deck that you're using now as a budget player, please, I want to see them. Please send them over to me. Just, you know, leave a comment or what have you, and we'll go through it. I do have a Discord, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff like I usually say. And I am done, and I will see you in the next video.